President Magufuli directs Prime Minister Majaliwa to dismiss cashew nut entrepreneurs. Kenyans walk to work due to public transport workers' strike. JKT Queens assign new midfielder and striker. Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli has directed Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa to do away with entrepreneurs who took their names as well as the amount of cashew nuts they want to buy at the 3,000 shillings per kilo price and set by the government, and assured citizens that the government will buy the cashew nuts at 3,300 shillings per kilo. When speaking at the swearing-in ceremony for 2 ministers and 4 deputy ministers after making slight changes to the Council of Ministers, President Magufuli warned the entrepreneurs that they may weaken the government and directed the Agricultural Development Bank to pay the farmers 3,300 per kilo. During the ceremony, President Magufuli sworn in Josephat Kasungu as Minister of Agriculture, Joseph Kakunza as Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Constantine Kinyasu as Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. Miriam Wanjelwa as Deputy Minister in the President's Office, Public Service Management, Mwita Waitara, Deputy Minister of Regional Administration and Local Government, Innocent Bashunywa as Deputy Minister of Agriculture, and retired Judge January Msofe as Chairman of the Law Reform Commission.
Joseph naapa kwamba nitaitumikia vema na kwa moyo thabiti Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Kwa hiyo wizara inayohusika kama ni wizara ya viwanda, wizara ya fedha, wizara ya kilimo, kutoka hapo wakakuandikia.
Whichever ministry is responsible after this meeting, they should write you an offer letter. What we are going to do today and tomorrow for cashew nuts that has already been purchased, about 90,000 tons, Tanzania Agricultural and Development Bank, please withdraw some money for this.
Chukueni pesa katu.
Makampuni matatu yako chini ya shilingi tani 5,000.
Companies to purchase 1,500 tons, 4 companies 1,000 tons each, 2 companies 500 tons each. 2 other companies have expressed an interest to buy more tons, but at a price that is different. Honorable President, we have 8 factories in the country that specialize in cashew nut processing, and mentioned companies will be allowed to do processing too.
Karne ya 21 ni karne shindani.
The 21st century is a competitive century, so all of our operations are faced with a lot of competition. Agriculture requires what is produced to be competitive, so we must prepare ourselves to embrace it. But also we must evaluate and plan on how we can compete.
Cashew nut farmers in Tandahimba district in Twara region have commended President Magufuli for his stance preventing buyers from entering the market, and also for the government purchasing the harvest at an increased price of 3,300 shillings from 3,000 shillings.
Nafurahishwa na natoa shangwe.
I'm so glad, and I commend President Magufuli for taking a stance in controlling dubious businessmen who wanted to oppress us. We support him.
Ambao walitaka kutukandamiza wakulima.
Nina furaha kubwa. Kwanza sikutegemea.
I'm thrilled. I never expected this at my age. All presidents, I've never seen anyone who cared for the less privileged like what President John Pombe Magufuli is doing. He reminds me of independence and the late Julius Nyerere, who stood for what he believed in. So I pray for him.
We
are pleased with the good news on cashew nuts, and this is a clear indication that our president cares for those on low income amongst us, especially farmers. This is his directive, and he is standing by it with all his might so that farmers get value for what they produce.
The government has said there is no procedure using political party identification cards as part of requirements to join Tanzania People's Defense Forces (TPDF) for employment, and if it is something that is being conducted in Tanzania, then it is illegal. The Minister of Defense and National Service said this in Parliament in Dodoma during a question and answer session and directed members of Parliament with proof of this to submit it to him so that action may be taken.
The conditions requires that he shouldn't be a member, and I know in Pemba one is required to hand back his party membership card, though I have no evidence, but this is a requirement that we also follow. One of the requirements you have just mentioned is the applicant doesn't need to belong to any party, but this is not the case in Zanzibar and Pemba.
Maji na kilimo vinaenda sambamba.
Water and agriculture go hand in hand, and if they don't collaborate, especially when there is no enough research and financing, how can we make progress as Tanzanians and for farmers to benefit from farming?
Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court is planned to give its decision on whether the chairman of Chadema, Freeman Mbowe, as well as Tarime Urban MP Esther Matiko should continue to be out on bail or not next Monday on November 23rd. The court decided to give its decision after hearing a defense from Mbowe and Matiko on why their bail should not be revoked because they failed to go to court for their case on November 8th of this year. Mbowe, Matiko and other leaders of Chadema are facing a criminal case as well as charges of incitement, rebellious incitement, and urging their followers to walk the streets with weapons. Airport officers at the Kilimanjaro International Airport KIA, in cooperation with a special squad of sniffer dogs of the police force, have successfully seized more than 6 kilograms of heroin from a Brazilian, João Candido. The stash of heroin was hidden inside a bag and was deceptively made to appear as if it was raw materials which are used to manufacture a bag. The Deputy Director General of Kilimanjaro International Airport, Christopher Mkoma, said that before the arrest of the Brazilian Candido, they had successfully arrested a married American couple who were found in possession of 6.7 kilograms of heroin as well.
You see, in the war against the smuggling of banned items, perpetrators are usually ahead of us, but now we are ahead of them. Last month, we arrested a couple from America who had tried to smuggle some drugs into the country, but we were able to catch them. For those who are used to smuggling stuff through this airport, then I would like to tell them that they will no longer be able to do so because security is heightened and we have improved equipment. You see, the dogs we are using were trained in the United States, and the officers handling them have also received training from outside the country.
The Minister of Energy, Dr. Medad Kalemani, has dismantled the Board of Directors for Rural Energy Agency, REA, and dismissed the appointment of the board chairman, Dr. Gideon Kaunda, as well as his councillors due to dissatisfaction with the board's performance. Speaking to press in Dodoma, Minister Dr. Kalemani said the decision was made due to the agency's failure to implement its responsibilities according to the laws of the board, and said that another board will be formed any time from now.
So officially, we are breaking the Board of Directors of Electricity Agencies, REA. This board was formed in 2017 and worked for about a year. But after this year, I wasn't satisfied with their performance.
The Deputy Minister for Mining, Dr. Biteko, has directed the Executive Secretary of the Mining Commission and the Commission's employees to not only immediately draw up a list of those people who owe money to the mining sector, but to also set a deadline during which those debts must be repaid. Deputy Minister Biteko made those comments while speaking with accountants and Tehama experts from the Commission for Mining. And during this discussion, the Deputy Minister made it clear that the goal of the Ministry of Mining is to collect a revenue of 500 billion shillings in the 2018-2019 financial year. In addition, the Deputy Minister was surprised to see that the mining sector has not achieved its revenue collection targets in comparison to other sectors such as livestock and fisheries.
Take all the debts for annual rent and look how many debts are outside. And you find one might be having a debt till 200 million and still asking for more license. So imagine what kind of a system this will be. Is this just a show-off? For example, there's one person I wouldn't want to mention, but he has more than 103 licenses. And still he is asking for more licenses. If you enter 40,000 and you write 4,000, that's already a loss because of only 1 zero. Or you write 4 million. We will be accounted for that money till we die. So as accountants, we have to be very careful.
The government has directed Tanzania Forestry Services Agency, TFS branch in Kilimanjaro region to distribute tree saplings free of charge to the people in order for them to plant the seedlings in their residential areas. Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan made these remarks during a public meeting after opening TFS office for Same district in a brief ceremony.
We want TFS to provide as many seedlings to citizens so as they can also plant, because one of the challenges they told me was that citizens go into the forest to get firewoods or they want charcoal. But if you plant trees in your areas, then you won't disturb the forest. Vice President, we have challenges here in overseeing the forest. Also, our citizens depend greatly on the forest. Also, other challenges is the law which we have, which is quite an old law. It doesn't support the system we have now.
Ziko kero za namna hiyo ambazo zimetengenezwa kwa miaka mingi.
There are such disturbances which have been created for many years. For here town, there have been land disturbances whereby officers are giving out one land to 2 different people. I know of this. But in the village, there were some cows created by landmarks, which were different, created by officers, bringing conflicts to villages.
Hundreds of citizens have shown up for testing of non-communicable diseases at Muhimbili National Hospital, Mloganzila branch as part of commemoration of World Diabetes Day held on November 14th of this year.
It's really something to praise, because a lot of Tanzanians can't afford these treatments. So for the government to do this is really a great step. The problem of diabetics is really a great problem. Like now you take 9.1% of Tanzanians are diabetic. And if you really want to know this problem is great, you can take statistics of 2003 to 2004. We had no diabetic children, but now we have till 300 at our diabetic clinic in Muhimbili. Dental problems are quite a big problem, and usually people dismiss it by taking it very lightly. And when they come for treatment, it's usually late. Now we advise people to come check their teeth early so they can stay for a long time.
That is all for national news. International news is up next.
An unrivaled platform for advertisers to enhance brand awareness and move products. We will enable you to reach confident and informed consumers and decision makers who are ready to buy, which includes company CEOs, CFOs, managers, entrepreneurs, policymakers in government, politics and civil society, diplomats, members of the academia and other key influencers. See examples of advertisement opportunities featured in Financial Times sections below. Telecom sections, real estate section, company news, banking, finance and insurance industry, information technology, national, regional and global markets overview, motoring, lifestyle. Get your copy of Financial Times for 2,000 Tanzania shillings only.
And in international news, transport activities have been affected in many parts of Kenya following a strike of public transport vehicles. This is due to the decision by owners of the vehicles throughout the country to remove them from roads to protest the move by the Road Safety Division to inspect and capture vehicles that have not met road safety laws, forcing many Kenyans to walk long distances to get to work.
This is all a result of unplanned borrowing. Chinese people, you are our friends, but we are begging you with much respect, urging you to go back home. It's best that everyone remains their countries of origin. As Africans, we have our own natural resources. We have our own leadership problems. We as citizens, we will look for you when we need you. We don't need anyone to speak on behalf of us in the name of elected leaders. Extrajudicial killings of students and activists, the law procedures of this country, there are courts and police. If anyone commits an offense, is taken to legal institutions. Why killing them on streets, kidnap, and poisoning even before God? It is not right.
Main opposition leaders in the Democratic Republic of Congo have selected a famous businessman in the country, Martin Fayulu, as their candidate for the presidential elections, which are expected to be held in December and were almost postponed. Fayulu will go up against former Minister of Home Affairs, Emmanuel Ramazani Shadri.
All opposers will be on the side of the leader of UNO, and we will elect him as the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo. They will see how we will rule this country.
That's all for international news. Do stay with us. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. The retired president of the third phase government, Benjamin Mkapa, has asked citizens to invest in financial institutions, such as banks, to benefit from the end-of-year profits. Former President Mkapa said this when buying shares at Dar es Salaam Community Bank.
I am calling on citizens to use banking institutions, not only for borrowing, but even investing their money. For example, in Zanzibar, there is People's Bank, which actually supports people a lot. The price of shares at our market is 240 shillings. If someone buys shares between 12th of November to 12th of December this year, our shares are on sale with a reduction of 22%. The aim of selling these shares is to increase banks' capital for the bank to compete well in the market and grow.
Following the saga on drop of cashew nut prices in the world market, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation has said that it is best that strategies be made, including finding capital within and outside of the country immediately, as well as attractions for reviving industries in the country and stopping sale of unprocessed cashew nuts, but rather having them processed in the country so as to get the most benefit out of them, including use of cashew nut husks and a cashew apple to produce profitable goods.
A farmer is supposed to get profit, and if they do not make any profit, then how are we supporting them? Because after planting cashew nuts, there is no turning back. We are also advising on formulating commodity reserve fund. The major advice was on ability to process the cashew nuts ourselves instead of selling unprocessed product, to allow farmers to at least get a chance to buy shares in industries that process cashew nuts.
Farmers of cotton in Shinyanga district have complained on shortage of seeds for the crop that the government suggested they farm in this 2018-2019 season, situation that has led to their inability to farm the crop, and they've also complained on pesticides not functioning, which has caused them great loss.
Seeds that are supposed to be given to farmers are not here yet. We don't know when they will be provided to us. There are several reasons on why the pesticides are not effective enough on plants. One of the reasons being the quality of pesticides. There are times expired products are sold at the shops.
And that is all for business news. We'll be back with sports in just a bit.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda. What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Brown from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, a hip it, the hip it, hip, hip, hop it. Don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette. I'm watching Sports Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian.
Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And on to sports. JKT Queens have strengthened their squad after signing a midfielder and a striker, with the transfer window being closed on November 10th.
Majority of players in our team are playing in the Premier League. We inspected their performance and decided to take them from the Premier League clubs. We believe they are fit. These 2 days we put them together to see how we can get those we want. This is a national team, so it doesn't need a long-time camp.
The Simba Queens goalkeeper's coach has complained of being sacked without being paid, as he was trying to strengthen the discipline of the team.
Kikubwa nimeangalia position.
I have signed according to positions. I have signed a midfielder and a striker. The striker is Sharia Boniface and midfielder Mariam Said for strengthening my team. Now last season we lifted the championship, so I know other teams must be well prepared, so I must also strengthen my team.
Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho said Manchester City's preparations for their derby victory were helped by playing in 2 friendly matches during the past week.
And to the top of the Premier League as goals from David Silva, Sergio Aguero and Ilkay Gundogan earned the champions 3 points at Etihad Stadium. But Mourinho said the hosts had an advantage as their past 2 games, home thrashings of Southampton and Shakhtar Donetsk, in which they won by an aggregate of 12-1, were significantly more straightforward than his team's most recent matches. This was United's 3rd away game in succession, following back-to-back wins at Bournemouth last weekend and Juventus on Wednesday.
Roger Federer paid for his errors as he lost to Japan's Kei Nishikori in his opening group match at the ATP Finals.
The Swiss, chasing a 100th career title at the season-ending event, lost 7-6, 7-4 and 6-3 to the world number 9. The normally unflappable Federer showed uncharacteristic frustration, while a calm Nishikori sealed victory when the Swiss hit a wild forehand. World number 1 Novak Djokovic opens his campaign against John Isner at the Oxygen Arena in London on Monday. Federer hit 34 unforced errors and was given a warning by the umpire for swiping a ball into the stands in the first set, and a performance that he will be keen to forget.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to prepare this bulletin for you, thank you for watching and have a good night.